Oi boys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We are here to talk about our NRL tips and predictions for round number 9, Magic Round. But before we do, let's take a look at how we did last week. It's been a decent week. We had a bit of a bounce back. In terms of the head-to-head, we got 6 correct picks, which takes our total to 39 for the season, back at 60%. I did bet against my Broncos and we got proven wrong, thankfully. And we jumped back on the Panthers to gain a bit of momentum, and they got body slammed by Manly. As for the try scorers, it was a week of the bounce back for some of the second rowers. In fact, almost every game had a second rower go over. But yeah, we're gonna cut the chit chat there and get straight into our selections for Magic Round. Alright, so seeing as it's a Magic Round and every game is being played at Suncorp, we kicked things off Friday night with a double header. First game, the Sharkies take on the Parramatta Eels. And looking at the teams list, there are singular outs for both sides, starting with the Sharkies. Mawene Hiroti is out as they welcome back Keo Iro. And for the Eels, Kamatuilangi is unavailable due to suspension, and jumping straight into that back row position is Charlie Geimer. So an interesting game here to kick things off with Mitchell Moses making a successful return against the Tigers. 2 weeks ago, might I add, coming into this game, Parramatta are fresh off a bye. So what makes this game interesting is that the Sharkies haven't quite kicked on the way I thought they would, having added Blake, and we kind of undersold Mitchell Moses' influence on Parramatta with his return. So despite where Parramatta sit on the ladder, I honestly think this is a bit of a coin toss, and I'm actually going to lean towards Parramatta in this one. The Sharks, sure, they've been winning here and there, but they haven't really been convincing. And Parramatta look like they're on the up, so yeah, give me Parramatta, give me 1 to 12 points. And to bag a meat pie, let's go with Mitchell Moses. Headlining our Friday fixtures, we have a banger between the Chooks and the Finns. And there's not much to talk about here when it comes to ins and outs, as the Roosters have kept the same 17. For the Finns, they'll be without Daniel Saifiti. Thankfully, Felice Kaufusi makes his return and he'll jump straight into the front row. And they also have Jeremy Marshall-King set to make his return as well. In their short history of playing each other, the Chooks do have the slight upper hand, winning 2 of the 3 played. Looking at the stats from this season, both teams looking for their 4th win and are pretty much even for every other stat category. Again, it's another coin flip. For me though, I will be leaning towards the Dolphins in this one. I think overall defensively they're the better side and they have more points in them. So we're going to go 13 plus, and we'll go with Hamaso Tabuai-Fado to cross the white line. Kicking off the Saturday triple header, we have the 11th ranked Rabbitohs taking on the 15th ranked Knights. Some big omissions for South Sydney as they'll be without Latrell Mitchell and Siliva Havili. Sergei Gray makes his return to fullback. Jack Whiten will play standoff. Ewan Aitken moves to the back line. Tallis Duncan gets to start in the back row with Jai Arrow at 13. And 3 new faces coming off the pine. Liam LeBlanc, Lachlan Hubner and Fletcher Myers join Davey Moale. For Nui, they welcome back Jacob Saifiti and Adam Elliott to the 17. Another head scratcher this game is, with both teams desperate for a win. Like the others, I could see this going either way. It's becoming a theme at this point. I'm looking at their history, 17 wins for both sides out of the 34 played. So split down the middle, and previously, the Knights have gotten the upper hand over the Bunnies. Convincingly, we'll say. As for my pick, I'll be on the Knights. Look, I don't know what's going on with the Knights. They are decent defenders, they can be gritty, but for some reason, they cannot get it together in attack. Despite that, like I said, I'll be taking them. There's too much strike in this side for me to ignore, so let's go 1 to 12 points. They have been struggling to get points on the board in general. And to cross the white line, let's go with Fletcher Sharp. Next up, we have a heater between the Warriors and the Cowboys. Looking at the Warriors, they've made 1 change to their 17, with Jacob Laban being unavailable due to a head knock. Tamaire Martin joins the bench. And looking at the Cowboys, they have the same 17 that are currently on a 4-game win streak. For the Warriors, they're on a 2-game win streak, which kind of sets the stage for a bit of a blockbuster. Historically, the Warriors do have the upper hand over the Cowboys, winning 23 out of the 44 played, and have beat them in their last couple of meetings. So who do we pick? A lot of umming and ahhing in this one, much like the previous. I will be backing the Warriors to get the win though. Like I said, it's too close to call. I'm going to go 1 to 12 points, and I'm going to go with Leka Halasima. That's going to be such an interesting battle up against Jeremiah Nanai. So headlining this triple header, we have the Tigers versus the Dragons. Not much to touch on with the ins and outs again, as the Tigers have the same 17. As we turn our attention to St. George though, they've dropped Lockie Ilias in favour of Laikan King Tongia. There are a couple of other changes with Corey Allen making his way back from an ACL injury. I love that for Corey Allen, someone that's been pretty unlucky with injuries as of late. And also Hamish Stewart will be starting at lock with DeBellin coming off the pine. As for our pick, I'm just going to go outright and back the Tigers in this one. The Dragons were super disappointing, especially for Anzac round. That's a low-key put me off them. We're trying to keep this one short and sweet. Give me the Tigers, give me 1 to 12 points. And I'm going to go with Stafford Tor to get on the board. And in the first of 3 to end the Magic round, we have the Titans versus the Bulldogs. Looking at the ins and outs for the Titans, there's a huge axing here with Dave Fifita being dropped to reserve grade. They will also be without Jamin Jolliffe due to suspension, so Isaac Fa'asul Maliawi, Cleese Haas and Josiah Bahulu join Adama Howe on the bench. Looking at the Bulldogs, they're making 3 forced changes due to suspension. They'll be without Josh Curran, Matt Burton and Sitili Tuponio. Bailey Hayward jumps back into the 6, Daniel Suluka Fifita joins the front row, and Blake Taff is the new man on the bench for the Dogs. As for our pick in this match, one of maybe a couple of games that I'm fully confident in my pick. After being embarrassed last week, I can see them being extra gritty this week and shutting down such a dangerous attacking team in the Titans. So yeah, give me the Bulldogs, give me 13 plus, and I'm gonna go my boy Preston in back-to-back weeks. And in the penultimate match of the round, we got 2 heaters to close out, by the way. We have the defending premiers, the Penrith Panthers, going up against the hometown heroes in the Brisbane Broncos. Looking at the riff, Luke Garner is back from his head knock, so he'll be starting in the back line. And they have a new face on the bench with Trent Toilau. Looking at the Broncos, they'll be making just the one change with Jordan Ricky to line up on the right side back row. Brendan Piakuta drops to the bench and Tyson Smoothie to 18th man. As for our pick in this match, I will be backing the home team, the Broncos. Penrith I thought have turned a new leaf, but showed they are just as vulnerable as they were before picking up their first win of the season. So I want to go with the Broncos 13 plus, just keep it short and sweet. And that right side of Penrith have been under pressure lately, so we're going to take the left side center and Gemahat Shibasaki. And to close out Magic round, we have an absolute heater in the Canberra Raiders versus the Melbourne Storm, the match of the round. Looking at the ins and outs, the Storm will have Tui Kamikamitha back coming off the pine, whilst big boy Nelson Asafa Solomona still looms in reserves. And for Sticky's Young Guns, there have been no changes made in the side they came back from behind to whoop the Dolphins last week. Looking at the head-to-head, the Storm have been an absolute bogey team for the Raiders. Out of 54 games played, they've won 38. I will be taking the Storm in this, although the Raiders I think will make it difficult. They're looking for their 5th win in a row. But yeah, I think the Storm will be a little too classy for them. They also love winning at Suncorp Stadium, winning 31 out of 41. And on the flip side, the Raiders have only won 7 out of 23 games at Suncorp. So yeah, let's go with Melbourne. The Raiders to put up a fight. So Melbourne 1 to 12 points and to score a meaty. I'm gonna go with the skipper Cam Munster. And that about wraps up my tips and predictions for Magic Round. As always, if you have any tips and predictions of your own, let us know in the comments section down below. Otherwise, be sure to run straight at that like button. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.